שיעור in גמרא מציעא, פרק הסייחס האומנים, דף פ עמוד א'. In order to start the Mishnah, we have to give a little bit of introduction. This Mishnah talks about somebody is renting a cow, and from the rental company, he gets a plowing machine, 2 workers, and the first one worker he has a poking stick to direct the cow to make sure she goes straight into the lines, and then another worker goes into the back and he pushes down the handle from the plow machine. In the bottom of the plow machine there's a knife that turns the ground around. Okay, let's now begins the Mishnah. Zog the Eilike Mishnah. Somebody rented a cow to plow in the mountain, and instead he plowed in the valley. If the knife from the plowing machine broke, he doesn't have to pay. Why? Because even though he changed for a place which is less likely for the knife to break, because there is less rocks in the valley. Babiko, what about if he rented the cow to go into the valley and instead he plowed in the mountain? If the knife broke, because over there he took it to a place which is more likely for the knife to break because there is more rocks there. Rashi. Says Rashi, and all the parts of the plowing machine belongs to the owner of the cow, and his workers. They go with his cow, with this animal. In one of the workers, he holds the poking stick to make sure the cow, to steer the cow should go straight onto the lines where she's supposed to go. And the other workers in the back, he follows after the plowing machine, and he pushes down the handle in the ground, that in the bottom of the plowing machine there is a metal, that we call it kultro in Old French, and that metal, kankan and masnit, and that's what the Mishnah calls kankan. Chayev, says Rashi. Why? She'orim koshim lachosh, because mountains are hard to plow. She'sloim shom, because there are rocks there. Let's go back to the Mishnah. That's the second part of the Mishnah. Again, if a guy changed. Lodush bekitnis, if a guy rented a cow to thresh on beans, v'dosh betvuo, and instead he threshed on wheat, potter is potter if the animal got hurt. She broke a leg, she slipped, and she got hurt. What about lodush betvuo, v'dosh bekitnis? What about he rented a cow to thresh wheat, and instead he did it on beans? Chayev if the behemoth got hurt. Why? Because beans make you slide, make you sleep, and therefore they got hurt. Says Rashi, v'dosh betvuo potu. Why? If she slipped and she got hurt. Now we're going to go to the Gemara. Now in our Mishnah, we had a case in our Mishnah where the Mishnah talks about if the renter changed from one place to another change. Now the Mishnah is asking a question. In a case when the renter did not change the place where he was supposed to go, and therefore he doesn't have to pay anything. So the question is, man meshalim, who from the 2 workers have to pay? Says Rashi, ve'echad eloi shani. Says Rashi, and the owner of the cow has no right to demand anything because he didn't change. He went where he was supposed to go. But those 2 guys that worked with a plowing machine, who are they? Amanig, the leader, and the one who holds the plowing machine. Yachad together, they were workers for the owner. And the question is, which one did negligence by breaking the knife? So which one has to pay? Back to the Gemara. And for the Gemara, we have 2 opinions. The one who holds the poking stick, the leader, he has to pay. Why does he have to pay? because he directs the behemoth to the wrong place. Rav Shisha Barei Ravidi Yomar, the nokit mono mishalem, the one who holds the plowing machine, he has to pay. Why? Because he pushed the plowing machine too deep into the ground, and that's how the knife got stuck on the rocks, and that's how it broke. And the Gemara finalized. The ilchasa and the halacha is the nokit mono mishalem, the one who holds the knife, the one who holds the plowing machine, he has to pay. Why? Because he stuck it too deep into the ground. And the Gemara finalized, ve'i duchtu the machzeke gundri, and if they went to a place that it's a known that has different types of rocks, tarvayu meshalmim, both of the workers have to pay. And the reason for both of the workers have to pay, we're going to discuss the machlokes Rashi and Tosfos as we're going to see soon. So let's read the Rashi. The Nokit Porosha says Rashi, Mardeya. Porosha is also called a Mardeya, and as we call it, the poking stick to direct the behemoth. Meshalem, he has to pay. Shaloi kiven asaporo yafe, because he didn't direct the cow to go proper. Validei sheives asashura shel mane. So that he made the line of the plowing machine should go crooked. Nishbar kankan, the knife broke. Says Rashi, the nokit mono. What's mono? Kankan. Kankan means the knife. Mishalem, why? She'emik yoyse medai ba'oretz, because he pushed it too deep into the ground. Ve'ilcheso the nokit mono mishalem, says Rashi, she'ilu lo ye'emiko yoyse medai. If he didn't push it too deep, lo nishbar be'ivas ashuro, it wouldn't break by making the line going out of the line. Ve'i the machzeko begundri. Says Rashi, what does it mean? She'oyo yedu alayim ba'ar, because it was known to them that in the mountains, shemale avonim v'tzulma v'troshim, that brings out different types of rocks. Therefore, you have to be more careful. Tarvayu meshalmim, says Rashi, she'oyo lo'em le'izoer me'oid, because both of them had to be very careful, because since you go to a rocky place, they both have to be very careful. Why? Ubedover mu'et she'ives afa manig u'nishbar. And of the slightest things that a leader made the behemoth go crooked, the knife will break. Therefore, they're both responsible. Rashi finishes with 4 words that's the point of the machlokes between Rashi and Tosfos. Says Rashi, "Va'avedover amutal besofek." It's something that it's put in a doubt. We don't know who actually broke it, because since both of them have to be responsible, so they both have to be careful. And therefore, since they were not so careful, so even the leader, the one who walks with the poking stick, he also has to pay the money. Now let's see the Tosfos. So we have here 2 Tosfos. We're going to first start the Tosfos that applies on the argument of between Rashi and Tosfos. Now, the way Rashi explains that if it's in a place with a lot of rocks, both of them have to pay. So let's read the Tosfos. And if it's a place that it's known do have a lot of rocks, both of the workers have to pay. So first Tosfos brings out the explanation that Rashi says. Pirish b'kuntres, Rashi explains. Rashi is called kuntres, and we're not going to go to the details right now why is it called kuntres, but he was called, all these booklets was called kuntresi. So Rashi, Pirish b'kuntres, mishum da'aves sofik mio. So we don't know who is actually broke the knife, who did it, and therefore, since we don't know who did it, therefore they both have to pay. So now Tosfos have an amazing question on Rashi. It's known to be, it's a machlokes between Sumchus and Chachomim regarding if we don't know if it's a sofik, if it's a doubt on something, who did it, what do we do? So if 2 people did damage and we don't know who actually did the damage or who has to pay, so Sumchus holds that we divide the damage between 2 people. Chachomim holds no. Since you don't know who did the damage, so therefore the one who wants to take money from his friend, he has to bring a proof. So now the guy who got the damage, he has to bring a proof from one of those 2 did the damage. And since he can't, then nobody pays. And the halacha is like Chachomim. So therefore Tosfos is asking, It doesn't make sense. If Rashi says that the reason they both have to pay because we do not know who broke the actual knife, so therefore none of them should pay. Why does Rashi say that both of them have to pay? Let's read the Tosfos inside. It doesn't make sense what Rashi says. It doesn't look like. Because we do not follow the opinion of Sumchus, rather we follow the opinion of Chachomim, which hold because whoever wants to take money from his friend, he has to bring a proof. And since over here we don't know who did the breaking of the knife, the leader or the one who holds the plowing machine, so therefore we have a suffix. If we don't know, if it's a doubt, both of them should have been potur, not chayv. So why the Gemara says that both of them are chayv? According to Rashi, it doesn't make sense that both of them should be chayv. So Rashi brings Tosfos brings a little bit different shot. It looks to me, says Tosfos, the ochos shneim poshu, the opposite of Rashi. Not that we don't know who did it, the opposite. The ochos shneim poshu, both of them made negligence, both workers. Why? Given the machzeko begundri, because it's known to be that it has a lot of rocks. Unishbar me'oid bekal. It breaks very easy. It's very likely, very easy for the knife to break. And therefore, ve'oyo lekol echod litan lev al chaveiro. Everyone, k'moy al atzmoy, every one of the workers had to pay attention to his job and on the job of his friend. Just like he's watching himself, he has to watch his friend. Ve'la'aziroy, and to warn him something is going wrong. Ve'acharei shelo yiziroy, since he didn't warn him, Gamu Pasha, he also made a negligence, therefore both have to pay. Meaning, usually the normal, in a regular place, every one of the workers has his own job that he has to do. But over here, not only he has to watch what he's doing, he has to watch what his friend is doing. Now, to watch the expression of Tosfos, to pay attention, Tosfos uses the word litain leiv. Litain leiv means to pay attention, Okay, so that's Tosfos. Now we're going to go to the first Tosfos of the Amud. Now, to Eichad lo yishani man meshalem. Now, Tosfos, it seems like they have two cases in the Mishnah, two cases in the Gemara that we learned so far. We have a case of when the guy changed, when the renter changed from one place to another place. So sometimes he will be chayv or not. And we have a case in the Gemara when they didn't change, who from the two workers, when the renter did not change, and the question was who from the two workers have to pay. But it seems that the Gemara is not discussing what happened when he did change, are the workers chayiv to pay or not. And Tosfos is going to address this issue. In a case when he did change, why one of the workers that made negligence by breaking the knife, why doesn't he pay? So that's point number one of Tosfos. Number one, why it seems from the Gemara that the Gemara assumed that none of the workers have to pay. The question is, why not? And point two of Tosfos, and the Gemara should also ask, man b'shalem, who from the two workers has to pay? Why the Gemara doesn't discuss it, period. And for the Eileke Tosfos, v'yeshloimar, so Tosfos make two statements, and then he explains why the workers don't have to pay. V'yeshloimar, number one statement, the Eichad Shani loy meshalem. In a case when the renter changed, the workers do not have responsibility to pay. Why? Statement number two, the Mari, because we're talking about Shamasker Saporo, the rental company who rents out the cow, he hires the workers, to go with this cow, and to do the work for the soicher. So that's statement number two. When the rental company rents out a cow, a plowing machine with a cow. Now Tosfos explained, and that's why none of the workers have to pay. Because they say to the rental company, we did not agree, we did not make a condition with you only to plow in the valley. That's what you told us. And therefore, we did not accept the watch of the knife in the mountains. So therefore, if we did not accept the responsibility to watch it in the mountain, only in the villa, and if we would have plowed in the valley, the knife would not break. We would not break it. So therefore, we only accepted responsibility in the place where we were told to go from the rental company. But if in another place we didn't accept responsibility, therefore we don't have to pay. Now Tosfos over here has a hidden question. Hidden question means that he's not saying the words inside, but we have to figure out from the answer of what Tosfos says, what's the question? The question is, so the rental company can tell the workers, okay, fine, you don't have to pay for the night because you didn't accept responsibility. But since you went to the new place, I'm not going to pay you for the day's work. Why should I pay you for the day's work? So that Tosfos says, nevertheless, we should not lose our payment of the day. Why? Your mind was that we should do as the owner of the field will tell us. As we know, the customer is always right. So if we tell us to go to a different place, we thought he arranged it with you. Why should we think differently? Because you thought, meaning the owner of the car thought that the guy will only follow the biko. So you told us to follow his directions, and we did. How would we know that he didn't make it up with you, and he didn't follow? He just did whatever he wants. So therefore, we should still get paid for the wages of the day because we did the job. We're still working. Thank you so much.